Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Bird Brothers, two brothers in Ohio who have been lifelong Eagles fans ever since the beginning of the Andy Reid era. In this episode, we're going to talk Eagles, Jaguars. Doug Peterson faces off against the Eagles for the first time since leaving the organization. Ryan, what are your expectations for this game?
I think I look at them as similar to the Lions. I think they're a tough team. I think they're very young and they're very athletic. Uh, to the point where I think it is going to be a tougher game. Um, depending on how we game plan them and stuff. But Lawrence has played pretty well. James Robinson's played well. They have some talented receiver. They target Christian Kirk a lot. Um, they're very talented. They're very young and explosive on both sides of the ball. I think they have Devin Lloyd. Trevon Walker's looked very promising so far. Looks like
Yeah.
like a freak of nature, which I doubted. Not the fact that he can play football, but putting drafting one like him one overall just based on I always think he's going to be great. Like he has the build. And it's like yeah, but he didn't really perform crazy. He didn't put up huge numbers in college, but they were just drafting off of we love his length, we love his athleticism, all these things. It's like that's great, but to me it makes me nervous. But so far he's looked solid. And like I said, very athletic defense, very athletic offense, and they play fast. And I think Peterson's a great coach. Uh, but yeah, I think it'll be a tougher game than people think. They went worst team in the league last year. I think they're definitely going to be better. They've played a couple tough games this year. So,
What's their record? Do you know?
I
I know
don't.
they lost to the Redskins.
Yeah, I don't know off the top of my head. I was just looking at statistics and stuff, and Lawrence has played better than I thought he had. Um, Completing around like 70-some% or low 70%. So
they're
played
one.
well.
They're 1-1.
Yeah. So I do think, they lost to Washington. So, but I know it was a tough game. But no, I do think it's going to be tougher. We can't take them, lightly. Can't come out and be like, oh, they were the worst team in the league last year. That's fine. And I don't think they will, just simply for the fact that the players are going to be playing against Doug Peterson, and it's kind of that kind of mentality. But no, I think it'll be a tougher game than people think. I think they're a tough team, and they're just young and hungry. So they got, they're playing like almost like not that they have nothing to lose, but similar to that, kind of. I mean, you're really young. You just had the first pick in the draft. You got a guy who you think is a stud. You got your quarterback, new coach. So they're playing hungry. So
Yeah,
yeah,
they've got two very important pieces. I remember when they would talk to Andy Reid about building a team, he would say, "Give me a quarterback, two tackles, uh, two corners, and an edge rusher,
yeah,
something like that." But they've got the quarterback, they've got an edge rusher on two of the most important pieces on each side of the ball. And yeah, Walker, I understand what you mean. Like, you're not a big fan of like drafting just off of traits
right.
because he didn't
Not
have a
that.
whole lot on film. It's almost like it's not quite like this, but it's a projection. It's a big projection, and I was gonna say it's almost like taking a basketball player and saying, "Hey, man, I think you'd be a great tight end."
Right.
Like that's a bigger leap, but he played a lot of inside. He actually came out of high school as a defensive tackle, Trayvon Walker, but big athlete. I've seen he's getting around the edge. He's made some
Yeah.
plays, he's got some sacks. So yeah, I'm excited. Doug Peterson. It is in Philly, so he gets to return to Philly. The Eagles fans will cheer for Doug. I would be shocked if they didn't. I'm gonna be. I got a lot of respect for Doug. I feel we play Wentz. We faced off against Wentz. I feel different about that. Like I wouldn't boo Wentz personally. but yeah, I think they'll cheer for Doug big time. And you know who's looked really good, man? I'm obviously a big fan of Lawrence. He's got so much upside, such a high ceiling. But ETN,
Yeah.
ETN, his college teammate from Clemson, he's looked really, really good, really explosive, catches the ball. I know PFF tracked him coming out, and he had like the higher broken tackle percentage than anyone they had ever even seen. And it
Right.
was like out of the stratosphere. Like no one was even close to the amount of men that ETN made miss, like broken tackles, or guys missed him on the field. He was the best they had ever graded. I wasn't a big fan of them drafting him because they had James Robinson. They drafted him in the second round. Urban
Yeah.
Meyer did. Um, you know, I thought, well, you already got a good running back.
Yeah.
What's a second good running back going to do for
Hey,
you?
yeah, I mean Etienne's played well. I don't love the pick either. I like James Robinson, and he's so far outperformed him, I think. Uh as far as so like I play in fantasy football, so I think in that aspect of like, all right, well Robinson's put up, 15 points a game and Etienne's put up 9 or whatever, is. So I think Robinson's outperformed him so far. It's just kind of when your team's that bad, you don't go draft another running back when you're already strong at that position. It's kind of and when your team's that good, you don't do it. I mean, you can do luxury picks when you're contending for Super Bowls every year. Like the Chiefs can go out and draft, another crazy fast receiver or some skill player, and that's fine because they're going to be consistently in the playoff run every year. Um, but it was like the Packers going out and drafting a backup quarterback, which is absurd because you don't play two quarterbacks. And then they draft a backup running back. When I love AJ Dillon, but you didn't need him. Aaron Jones a stud. You needed more weapons, offensive lineup, whatever they needed. So yeah, I didn't love the pick going to get Etienne. He has played well, but no one said he wasn't a good football player. Just said you didn't need him. You needed, offensive line help. You needed corners. You needed, whatever. But they did draft pretty well. We got Trevon Walker and Devin Lloyd in this last draft. So 2 studs on defense. They lost Miles Jack in the offseason, but picking up Devin Lloyd obviously helps with that. But no, they got a young, hungry team, like I said, man. So they're not anyone that you can't take them lightly. They got a great quarterback, good coach. I won't say great quarterback, good quarterback so far. Christian Kirk is well. So, but yeah, no, I don't think we can take them lightly. Gotta, continue to play with the mentality that Kelsey talks about, never being comfortable. He talks about comfort kills you, man. It really does in this league, where you start to get comfortable and you just settle in, and then you get beat by a team that had first pick last year, or a team that won 3 games or whatever. So, got to stay hungry. Got to play them like we do everybody. Every week is a new challenge. It's the NFL, so yeah.
Yeah, the margin for error is small, and every game's tough.
Yeah.
Like the Commanders, they beat the Jags 28-22. Then the Commanders lost to the Lions. We beat the Lions. There's not a whole lot of I don't put a lot of stock in that kind of stuff. Like,
Yeah.
oh, well, the Commanders beat the Jags, and then they lost to the Lions, and we beat the Lions, so we should beat the Jags. Like, no. It's 3 weeks ago. A lot's happened since then. It's brand new game, brand new day. And like you said, yeah, you can't take anybody lightly in this league. There's not one team. Like, I would think coming into the year, I would think, wow, the Texans are the worst team in the league by far. That's what I would think.
Yeah.
Did they just beat, or they tied the Colts?
Yeah. The Colts, I don't know what's going on with the Colts. Don't get me started on the Colts. I have no idea what is happening there. Like I love Frank Reich, and I was like going and getting Matt Ryan. I was like, oh, he's an upgrade from Carson Wentz. Matt Ryan's done a lot with a little in Atlanta. So I don't know. I have no answers to what's going on. They still have a great offensive line. They have Matt Ryan. They have one of the best running backs, arguably the best running back in the league. They have a good defense, and they're not doing anything. They're not scoring points. They're not stopping anybody. Matt Ryan looks atrocious so far. and I don't know why. It's and again, it's early. We're only 2 weeks into the season. You would expect to settle in, but I would have picked them as a sure shot team to win or to make the playoffs and be, a 10, 11. They're they're just built very well. They're very well built throughout their entire roster. And they went out and got Matt Ryan. And I was like, oh, there it is, man. That's what they needed. Inconsistency from Carson Wentz hurt them last year. You
Yeah.
know, throwing interceptions at, they're up 7 points or they're up 6 points and they just got to run the ball and they run a play action to try to surprise them. Wentz throws a pick and then they drive downfield and lose the game by 1 point. It's like, all right, man, like stuff like that killed him. So I expected Matt Ryan, being a savvy veteran, come in. Now he has weapons. He has an offensive line. He has a great running back, and yeah, I don't know. It's been a weird year so far, but um, Davis Mills is the savior of the Houston Texans. I like Davis Mills. I think he can play, man.
I haven't watched him much. He
He's
was
got.
he was a
I mean,
top rated quarterback, I think, coming out of high school.
They outside of Brandon Cooks, like I like Damian Pierce, but I'm not going to sit here and say that he's a great running back because we haven't even seen him play enough. But I think they got OJ Howard. OJ Howard in the offseason, which he's been a big letdown so far in his career. Like I expected huge things from him. And when he was paired with Tom Brady, I was like, oh, it's over, man. Like this is gonna be the next Gronk. We're gonna see him, scoring touchdowns for the next 10 years while Brady's 55. But yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know what's going on in Indianapolis. I would have said the same thing. Houston's the worst team in the league, but I don't know. You can argue that now.
Do you think there's one matchup I'm excited to see? I want to see if there's any matchups that you're going to be paying close attention to with the Eagles Jaguars. First thing that comes to mind, number one, is I don't think it will happen, but I wonder if Sirianni will have any kind of like imposter syndrome. Playing in Philly, Doug comes back. Doug won a Super Bowl. Doug was there for 3 years, 3, 4, 5 years. He was successful 5 years, and he went to the playoffs 3 years. Will Nick Sirianni feel any imposter syndrome, or like, will he get go out of his way?
Right.
And then the matchup I really want to see is I want to see Trayvon Walker go up against Mailata.
Yeah.
I'd like to see that. Are there any matchups you're looking for?
I'd like to see that as well. Walker versus, either Mylott or Lane Johnson. But no, I think corners and receivers for me, are we going to be able to match up with them? Christian Kirk, Marvin Jones. They lost Chenault. Chenault went to Carolina. But yeah, just kind of that. And then I think the backfields, that might be our biggest concern. The backfield, not as far as stopping the run, but covering their running back, covering ETN out of the backfield. And that could be a Gardner Johnson task, bring him up in the box and play, Epps deep or whatever. Could also be, a Nakobe Dean type scenario. I don't think I like Edwards. He's played well so far, but I don't think he's athletic enough to cover ETN for a whole game. Maybe not athletic isn't the term, but fast. He's not fast enough. You can be athletic and, make the right moves. I don't think he's fast enough to cover him out of the backfield. So I think that might be a concern. I think they're going to do a lot to slow us down, our pass rush. So it's probably going to come to screens and, bubble screens, halfback screens, things like that to slow us down. So I would say that'd be my biggest concern, matchups against the running backs in the passing game.
Yeah, and they got the other guy. I think he's a running back, but they play him kind of all over. Agnew. You know what I'm talking about?
I know the name. I'm not sure.
I think he's a running back. I've seen him make a lot of plays out of the backfield. Maybe he's not even on the Jags anymore. Yeah, Jamal Agnew. He's a wide receiver and return specialist for the Jaguars. He wears number 39. Yeah, I've seen him make a lot of splash plays. And I think they use him kind of out of the backfield, use him as a slot, use him as a returner. He's almost like a Curtis Samuel type guy, I think. So yeah, that's a good point. Covering him out of the backfield. Will they try to because if you're going to go after the Eagles, if you're going to try to expose somebody, everybody just saw, just a few weeks ago, we played the Minnesota Vikings and we completely shut down Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen, high-powered offense, quarterback throws for 4,000 yards religiously. They did nothing. So if you're going to try to target someone on the Eagles, are you going to go after Darius Slay? No. Bradbury? No. Maddox? Probably not. Gardner Johnson? Probably not. But TJ Edwards, I think you're right. I think if I was the Jaguars and I'm looking at my strengths and my opponent, the Eagles, I would be trying to get ETN matched up on TJ Edwards. And I want him running an option route out of the backfield. And so interesting point. We'll see if that comes to be anything. But any final thoughts, man? Things to look out for versus the Jags?
No, I just think the biggest thing, don't take them for granted, man. Don't think that we can come out here and walk through them because they're young, they're athletic, they're hungry, and they're seem to be well coached so far. So we know that Lawrence can score with us. I think they can put up points. They have a lot of talent. Just don't take them for granted, man, and I think ETN's going to be a problem if we don't game plan him right.
Good point. So, yeah, I guess my final thoughts. I'm excited to see Doug Peterson back at the link, and just something to kind of throw out there. Will Nick Sirianni have any kind of? And I don't think he will. I think he's pretty secure. I think he's pretty confident individual. Yeah. But sometimes you get in your own head about things like this, and will he have any imposter syndrome? Will he have any kind of lack of? Will he try to overextend? Will he try to do too much? Will it throw him off his game at all because the opposing coach is Doug Peterson? Right. I don't know, but it'll be interesting to see it unfold. Guys, thanks for watching another episode of the Bird Brothers, two brothers in Ohio, lifelong Eagles fans. Please like and subscribe. You can follow us on Instagram at @Bird Brothers. So the word @Bird Brothers on Instagram. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Bye.